Las Vegas, and welcome to the special edition. We have Remington with us today. What's your last name again?
Longley.
Remington Longley. He is a member of the Libertarian Party. He is a young politician, I think an upcoming star in the city of Las Vegas and the state of Nevada. And of course, we have the legendary Rolando Ross sitting to the left of him. I am your co-host, Chris Garcia, and we want to thank you so much for joining us today, streaming live on RadioDriven.com, and of course, this will be up on YouTube in a couple of hours. We were talking about Donald Trump, and we were talking about coming out tomorrow in the Las Vegas Tribune. Rolando said that there's going to be an article about Trump needs to start his own party. Rolando, we're just going to continue with that conversation. What do you think about that?
I agree with Remington. I think the name is immaterial. The name is not that important. It's the people who are joining that party is the one. They can be a Republican, the new Republicans. You know, it could be anything else. The people that really care for the nation, people care to make this country what used to be the best country of them all. Because why do you think everybody wants to come to this country? Because we are the best.
That's right.
You know, and Remington is right. Maybe putting another name is not really the answer. Too late for me. I already wrote the article and it's going to go. Otherwise, I got to find something else to put in that space. But, you know, I am the kind of person that when I throw something out there and people come out with a better idea, I have no problem to grab that idea and go for it. Yeah. And I believe that you're right. It's not. And maybe next week I write about that.
I will have to ask you this, Chris. You mentioned that the Republican Party, in a sense, needs to transform its base, sort of maybe switch a couple things. What parts of the Republican base need to change in terms of opinions and values?
When Trump was talking about running, and Rolando was probably one of the first people on his bandwagon, and we had shows in here and talked about it, and you would have been surprised how many of my friends, how many of my family members were Trump supporters. And one of the things that tickled me the most is when he was in Michigan, and I think he was at an African American church, and he said, I can't do any worse than what the Democrats have been doing. Give me a chance. You know, I want to repair your neighborhoods. I want to repair the ghettos in the inner city. I want to put you back to work, not on welfare. Give me a chance. And I know how many of my friends loved what he said and voted for him. And I think that it's almost a foregone conclusion that blacks are going to vote Democratic. I don't believe that. I think there are a lot of African Americans that will vote Republican if they reach out to
Well, I never been able to understand why the black community, it become Democrat. Because the Democrats never done anything for the black community.
It's true.
You know.
It goes back to Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yeah.
Lyndon B. Johnson said, I'll have those bleep voting Democrat for hundreds of years.
Right.
It's true. The Democratic Party, by far, they're seen as, the party of the people, the party of equality. There is no reason whatsoever, under any circumstances, that anyone who is black, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, or Arabic would vote for a Democrat. The Democrats are the party of Japanese internment camps during World War II.
That's right.
The Democrats are the party of the Ku Klux Klan, the Trail of Tears,
That's right.
the Chicago and New York mafias.
That's right.
They were the party of they opposed the Civil Rights Act.
That's right.
Both times.
That's right.
The Democratic Party opposed the Civil Rights Act by a 96%. The Republicans, on the other hand, pushed it through Congress by almost a 100%.
That's right.
There is, and look nowadays. Look at the most black areas in the country. Where are they? You got Detroit. You got parts of New York City. You've got Baltimore. You've got Chicago. Have been under the Democratic ruling and the Democratic policies for how long? 60 years? That they have been voting, and they're not even Democrats. They're like liberals. They're like socialist people.
That's right.
The Democratic Party wasn't always like this. There used to be a conservative party. John F. Kennedy was the face of what the Democratic Party meant back in the day. John F. Kennedy, actually, Prager University just did a video on this. John F. Kennedy would not identify as a Democrat now.
No, he wouldn't.
It's so true.
No, it wouldn't.
The Democratic Party has had the control of the most black communities in America, and so far, what has come of it?
That's right.
The school systems still suck.
That's right.
Racial and police tensions are still high.
That's right.
Crime rates are still high. Unemployment is still high. Their kids still don't have jobs. Their kids are still getting shot. Why? Because they want to pass this narrative of, oh, if everything was just liberal, then everything would just be tolerant. Everything would work out. And they pitch to minorities this idea of love and tolerance, and you guys are oppressed, and we're going to fix that. The reality of it is, the Democratic Party is sort of reaching out to them just for the voter base.
That's right.
The Democratic Party has never, not once, done anything positive for someone who is a minority. Not back in the day, not now. They have systematically
That's right.
ripped minority communities, and they're destroying not only this country but also the black and Hispanic youth.
Let me ask you something, or let me tell you something. I would like to see you again. I would like to see you coming over here and be part of this organization, because it's not me. It's not this. Is I have never used any title or anything. I'm using titles now because unfortunately people have been trying to take this from me, and I gotta make sure that everybody knows that I am the publisher and I am the owner of this organization. But I never believe in anything like that. But I would love, and unfortunately I have another commitment I have to run. But I would love to see you on a daily basis over here. You're welcome over here. It's
Wow.
been
And
an
I'm
honor.
open to working with you as well. So,
Thank you. Okay.
Goodbye, my friend. I'll see you
Okay.
later.
See you guys later. Keep an hour. Don't let him do it. Okay, don't let
We
him
going
do
to
it.
1:30. That's we going to 1:30. Wow. So that's incredible, but you're absolutely right. So that's the base that I'm kind of talking about. You know, I think that they just need to reach out to more blacks and Hispanics, and I think that blacks and Hispanics are open to voting Republican. I really do
I do.
believe that. Yeah.
Trump did better with Hispanics. There's this big,
Yes.
Trump's a racist.
Yes.
He did better than Romney and McCain. Trump, I think, doubled the amount of African Americans that usually vote Republican.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, it's still a small number,
Yes.
but you're talking about somebody who has multiplied the base.
Mhm.
I think that a lot of what it is that Republicans, and I guess I should really say conservatives, are going to inner cities and they're sort of breaking the stranglehold that the Democratic Party has had.
That's right. That's right.
A perfect example is in Flint, Michigan. There was endless, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Occupy Democrats.
Yes.
I try not to throw up every time I go on that page. They blocked me. I don't want to even get into it. But they published, and people like them have published a bunch of propaganda when Flint, Michigan went down. Oh, why doesn't Trump, we got plenty of money for war, but the people in Flint, Michigan still can't drink. Take a look at Flint, Michigan. They have 9 city councilmen. All 9 city councilmen are Democrats.
There you go.
Isn't that interesting? All 9 of the city councilmen in Flint, Michigan are Democrats.
It's only 7.
No, there's 9.
7.
There's 7?
Yeah.
Huh.
In Flint, Michigan.
In Flint, Michigan?
Oh, in Michigan. I thought you were talking about here.
No, there's 9, no, Flint, Michigan. 9, I was like, no, there's 9.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. There's 9 city councilmen, they're all Democrats.
All Democrats.
And it just goes back to the point I was making earlier about how they claim to be the party for the minorities, but they've just destroyed the community.
Right. They're talking about how the man is poisoning water there. No, you're not going to know. This is unbelievable.
We don't want to pass the pipeline because oil might get in our water, but our water's full of lead.
That's
We've been under Democratic rule for 6 years.
That's
So
right.
how about that?
So what do you think is going to be done about the Obamacare Act? What do you think is going to be done about that? I know you can talk an hour just go.
Let me sum this up very shortly. Nothing until 2018. The Senate is the one that's going to do the health care. You go to the House, they've got Republican support. They'll get whatever Trump wants to get through the House, they'll get through the House. I mean, it's just how it is. But the Republican Party has such a slim majority in the Senate, and a lot of those guys aren't Republicans. You know, John McCain, Murkowski, the woman from Maine, they're not conservatives. So the issue with that is that the Republicans are going to have to perform in the midterm elections. Here's my open letter to the Trump administration. Your job right now, if you want to get healthcare reform done, is you need to increase your support in Congress. That's the only way you're going to push it through, is you're going to increase your support in Congress. What that means is stop focusing on healthcare right now. People are hungry for tax reform. They are. People have been, for the last 8 years, under the absolute stranglehold of high taxes and high business regulations. The Trump administration's proposal to repeal Obamacare, but also to work on tax reform, on business regulation, because he's a businessman. I really think that that's really the core of why people voted for him. That's why he got elected.
Absolutely.
So what the Republican Party, in my opinion, needs to do right now, switch over to tax reform. Start repealing these business regulations. Start getting us out of these horrible, horrible trade deals. Start lowering the taxes. Start, small businesses and entrepreneurs in the backbone of America. Start working to their benefit.
Absolutely.
And then when you guys start getting, people are like, this Trump stuff's really working out.
Yeah.
Switch over to healthcare. Switch over to healthcare when you guys increase your support in Congress. Run on the principles of business, which is what the Republican Party, a lot of it's what's known for. They're the party of business.
So where to get tax reform done? That's the basic thing.
Of course. Of course Republicans will get tax. They don't have a choice. They don't. Even Democrats want tax reform. There were a lot of Democrats this election who voted for Trump. There are. I forget his name. He was a boxer, the guy that played Rocky Balboa. I always forget his name. Sylvester Stallone. Way back, he said that the Republican Party, when you start talking about things like tax reform and stuff like that, that Democrats were switching onto that base to voting for Republicans that were going to work on tax reform. The Democrats are hungry for tax reform as well as the Republicans are. So I think that you go to a lot of these swing districts in Alaska and Maine, the people who are shooting down the healthcare stuff, they're not going to have a problem voting for tax reform because everybody in their district, well, I shouldn't say everybody, the majority of the people in their districts are healthy with it. So yes, I do believe.
So why not? Because I was right there with you. I watched them year after year after year. I watched them accept campaign money.
Oh yeah.
Based on the fact that they were going to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Repeal Obamacare.
Right.
There was no replacement until McCain got in there in 2017.
Why won't they do it?
I would love to say rhinos. I would love to say rhinos, but I think it's more. I think that's too much of a simplistic answer. I think a large part of it is rhinos. I think a large part of it is special interest. If I'm being completely honest with you. You know what? I like I said, I have friends in the Republican Party. I have been affiliated. I was a former member of it. I've worked on Republican campaigns. But I'll tell you this right now: the Republican Party and the Democratic parties are both controlled right now by special interests. It's true. It's the same party. It's the same. Coca-Cola, Microsoft, and several other companies have given. They've shelled out so much money to candidates. They've bought them entirely.
Absolutely.
I think that's really a lot of the reason why. Is because the special interests know that if they start doing business reform, that it makes more free market, which means more competitive. Mm-hmm. So it won't benefit their large corporations.
That's right. I think that, when he came to office, and I told people this, I lived in New York City, and I used to go to Washington, D.C. a lot, and they're two different animals. But what Donald Trump was used to doing in New York City, it doesn't work in Washington, D.C. And it's a lot of butt kissing. It's a lot of late night meetings. It's a lot of behind the wall handshakes.
Oh yeah.
And he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's used to coming in to negotiate and shake hands and get it done. And they don't care about getting things done in Washington D.C. Unless they're up for election, and then maybe they'll get.
Well, okay, but why? I don't truly believe, and I don't know if it's true for all of the Republican Party, but there's definitely a sentiment in the GOP where they don't want to repeal Obamacare.
No, they don't.
The idea of the two-party system right now is control. Both parties are working with each other and are also hanging out with special interests, getting nice and cozy with them with their little Cuban cigars and their nice little clear champagne. Voting. They're pitching a message: we're going to repeal Obamacare. We're going to lower special interests. No, they're not. Give me a break. That's a lot of the reason I left the Republican Party, if I'm being honest. initially. It was just because I was just tired of it.
Wow. There you go. Where do you see yourself? We got about 10 minutes left in the show. What do you see yourself doing, Remington?
I was going on this a little bit earlier. My plan is to get through college first. I want to be a criminal defense attorney, and I'm going to knock 2 years off of college because I'm going to high school, college. So that's kind of neat. Maybe if I do summer school, I can get 3. We'll see. After that, I'd like to get a family. I feel like not only American values but also Western values consist of the family unit. I think the family unit is not only very important to our civilization, but just our, just in general, just basic biology. So find a wife, have some kids, and find a wife, have some kids. After that, I would like to run for assembly or state senate. From there, I will do city council. Or I'll just go for Congress. I'd like to go House of Rep. I'd like to finish in the Senate, and then make a potential presidential one.
Wow.
That's kind of the plan.
You don't want your future wife, to see this, bro. Get a wife. She's going. That's me. That's me. You was talking. How many kids you want?
I'm gonna show her this tape. She'll probably laugh. She'll probably get a kick out of it.
Where are you going to find this young wife?
You know what? See, that's the thing about love is I'm a firm believer that the best relationships happen unexpectedly.
That's right.
So, you know what? I don't know. Maybe college. Probably not college, actually. I'd like to get my degree first before I start. But I don't know. Actually, we'll see.
Wow. That's good. That's good. What were some of the things that you would run your campaign on?
Okay, so this is something that's actually very core to me. Is my father is a small business owner. Actually, he owns Little Mountain Development. He's doing CO2 stuff right now. I've seen firsthand how small businesses are really the backbone of the economy of this country.
Yes,
they are.
Yes,
money makes the world go round, and small businesses make money go round.
Yes.
And I've also seen firsthand what high taxes and healthcare standards and big government regulations do to small businesses and how they sort of tear at that to benefit the feds. So the most key principle I would run on is tax reform and business regulations. There is a lot of business, especially in the tourism industry. There's a lot of business in not only Las Vegas but also all of Nevada. I think we need to return to those principles. There are a lot of people here who want to further our economy and just further their families. They don't want to be millionaires. I mean, they don't want to work as hard as it takes to be a millionaire, but they want to have a good house, a family, and a small business. And I think when the federal government tries to sort of tear down on them, it lowers the morale of which our country was founded on.
One of the main problems, and this is what I try to talk to my fellow conservatives, every time when I do my show, I always say conservative to me. Well, all the time that I was coming up, it always to me meant common sense.
Of course.
That's what it meant. And I think we've gotten away from that. And we got about 5 minutes left. But one of the main things that I like to talk to people about when I do my show, the country is changing. I think it's changed. I think it's changed forever. And I think that it is very important. One of the things I think that we lose so many elections on, and we've lost so many presidential elections on, is that the liberal media, who's going to do most of the town hall meetings, they're going to do most of the debates, their reporters are going to be in there. I find most of our candidates struggle with basic questions. And those questions, those basic questions, and I know people, these are difficult questions. They're not difficult. They're going to ask you about homosexuality. They're going to ask you about your feelings about gays. They're going to ask you your feelings about transgender. They're going to ask you your feelings about this, that, and the other, about what is it called again? I'm sorry, a same-sex marriage. They're going to ask you about those questions, and to me, we stumble on them every single time. We are not prepared. We have these views of the world has changed, and I don't care what party that you're in. You had better be prepared to ask those, because those people vote. This is a big voting block. The gay and lesbian communities out here, I'm old school, so of course those things to me were very uncomfortable coming up. I went to Catholic schools my entire life. I was taught a certain way, but the world is changing, and I had to come to terms, and I've thought about this running for office myself. You would just be better be prepared to answer those questions, and I think we stumble on that a lot.
Personally, I think when it comes to at least my personal views, I have very different views on marriage. I think that the federal government basically treading on people's marriages and enforcing marriage licenses is actually unconstitutional.
Talk to a few people that feel the same way.
I think that when it comes to the topic of gay marriage, I don't think I'm going to have an unpopular opinion. I don't see a reason. In Minnesota right now, they're charging $200 per license. There was a report that came out, I think it was Forbes that produced it, that said a sudden $500 payment. The average American household, if they had a sudden $500 payment, they couldn't make it. They were charging up to $500 for marriage licenses. So to be with somebody I love, I have to produce something to the federal government. Explain that one to me. Explain where in Section 8 of the Constitution it allows the government to come in my bedroom and tell me that I can't marry my wife without them getting cash out of me.
That was a great answer.
So that would be my answer, really.
You got so much Mike Pence in you. That was a great answer. You practiced that. That was a great answer.
I practice. I'm ready for anything that is thrown at me. I'm ready for anything.
He's already ready to run for president. He's ready right now.
What's so great about it is that it's so true. That's what's so great about it. It's the truth. He answered the question, he told the truth, and he didn't hurt anybody's feelings.
That was a politician right there.
Rolando, listen, this is the problem that I have with him, and Rolando is so independent, and he really dislikes politicians because he thinks that most of them are just piece of crap liars.
They are.
And most of them are. But I will say this. If you're going to be a politician, then you better learn how to be a politician. I mean, I don't care what field you go into, you better be good at what you do. You know, I mean, that's what was amazing about Donald Trump is that people, he actually is a very good politician. I think he beat Hillary Clinton in those debates. She's one of the greatest debaters and politicians.
I would say he lost the first one.
The first one he lost.
I would say he lost respect.
After that, he kicked her butt.
And you know what? And the odds were stacked against him, especially after. I personally think the Hollywood sex tape, not the Hollywood, the comments he made. I thought that was dumb. That was over a decade ago. Every man has made those jokes, but he had the odds stacked against him.
They said we don't talk like that. Did you hear all those liberal dudes? I've never said that. Really? You've never said you grabbed.
And then you got Anthony Weiner and Bill. Here's what's ironic is like all these liberals are like, oh, we don't talk like that. I'm like, really? Because the husband of the candidate you're voting for, like a dozen sexual assault allegations that went, you know,
They said they don't
remember
talk
that?
like that in the locker room.
Yeah, that's because they don't. You're right. They don't talk like that. They just act on it.
That's why they get rid of it.
Hey, that's right. So we got about 2 minutes left to show. Just where do you see the future of our country going? I'm worried.
I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all. I think here's what I think is going to happen. I think that the Democrats and the liberals, quite frankly, will win. I think that they are going to win.
I do too.
I think that they are going to run this country into the ground.
I do too.
And I think when they run this country into the ground, I think that there is going to be hell to pay for it. I think that they're going to get tossed out of office. I think that that ideology will not exist again in America for a great deal of time. I think that they're going to get their way with healthcare. I think it's going to destroy our economy. And I think that the people are going to be asking, even Democrats are going to be asking for a political revolution. This country is in need right now of a political revolution.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's going to be even more so in need for a political revolution when crap hits the fan. I think that they're going to win.
Will it be repelled? Will our country?
Absolutely, it's always. You had a bunch of farm boys with pitchforks and crappy rifles take on the most powerful naval and army-based military in the world. Colonists beat them. You had Hitler completely destroyed. We were ranked 26th in the world for military. We got beat by everybody almost. And Hitler came, Japanese came, took out what percentage of our Navy? You had a Great Depression in 1929 where things collapsed. People were literally in bread lines in the streets trying to get free bread. They were eating food with no nutrients whatsoever. The economy was in the dumps, and we rebounded. I think that this country has gone through hardships before. I think this country was founded on hardships. I think this country will go through hardships again. And I think that this country will overcome every time.
That's what I'm talking
And I think I would vote for him every day of the week.
Make America
I'm
great
I
excited.
think you can be a president right now with what you know. For real, in my book.
I think he's got to learn just a little more, but he's on his way.
We'll see.
No doubt about that. I think you're on your way, man.
Thank you.
Only thing I try to tell everybody is this, like I said, when you get to Washington, D.C., it's different.
Yep.
And even Donald Trump, who is a very rich man with a lot of friends, my prediction was, and my wife can tell you, I voted for him. I think he is going to win again in 3.5 years. But my problem is, I don't think he's going to get much done unless he makes some plans. And I think he's capable of making plans. He's a smart guy. But you're not gonna come in there and bully people that have been sitting here for 20 and 30 years. They know the ins and outs of Washington D.C. They got all the lobbyists and everybody on their side. You gotta. He's a negotiator, and he's got to learn to negotiate in Washington D.C. Because the bottom line is he wants to get things done for the people. Sometimes you have to swallow your pride and go into office and say, hey, let's hammer this out. Let's get this done.
You know what? In order to win, you gotta know you gotta know how the game is played.
That's right.
And it's dirty and it's messed up. It is. But if you want to create change, if you want to benefit those people, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. Quite frankly.
Wow.
It's sad, but it's just the reality of the situation.
Unbelievable. Right here, this is the future president right here. I predict 2038.
2038.
2038.
We'll see.
2038.
We'll see.
Remington, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris.
This is the future president. I'm telling you right now. I had him on my show first. I made the prediction, so I'm going to be at the inauguration.
You're gonna hear it first.
Me and my wife. You got invited
You
on
have
the
front row seats.
Oh man, I'm
Front row
gonna be
seats.
there. I'm gonna hold you to that.
You
I'm
will.
gonna hold you to
I
that.
will. I will
Keep
remember
the
it.
secret surface because I'm gonna try to break through.
That's right. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll be up on YouTube in a couple of hours. Please watch this show, comment on it, and hit us up and tell us what you think about Remington. I think he is unbelievable. He's 16 years old. I know you don't believe that. He's 16. So the country's in good hands. Thank you so much for watching today. God bless America. God bless our troops. And God bless and Godspeed to Donald Trump. Thank you.